2 words, Revo Fitness. Here's a few more. Simple, 24/7, reformer Pilates, body scanners, massage chairs, squat racks, free weights, pin and plate loaded equipment, no lock-in contracts, no bullshit. All of that and more from just $9.69 a week. That's surprisingly affordable. Join now at Revo Fitness Windsor Gardens or download the Revo Fitness app. RevoFitness.com.au or find the Revo Fitness app in the App Store.
This is Smallzy Surgery.
All right, tonight's guest, he's got a brand new book out. It is called In Gad We Trust. You'll know him for his iconic roles. He played Olaf in Frozen. He was LeFou in Beauty and the Beast. He was actually in the OG cast of the musical Book of Mormon, which is iconically offensive and so rude. He also lived here in Australia. It's Josh Gad, everybody. Welcome him on.
Hi, I'm Josh Gad, and I like warm hugs. The nicest, gentlest, warmest person ever. Oh, look at that. I've been impaled. Hello, would you like to change religions? I have a free book written by Jesus.
On the show right now, he's got a brand new book that is out now. I want to call him not an honorary Australian, but he's spent some time here. Josh Gad, welcome back to the show. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. I would like to be called an honorary Aussie.
Okay, well, we can
possible.
do that. We can do that. I do need to, before we continue then, just get your thoughts and feelings on Vegemite, and let me see. Budgie smugglers, Speedos. Do you wear either of those and eat either of that? No,
but that's for the benefit of all around me.
Okay.
When it comes to Vegemite, I prefer Marmite. Look, there is a certain point in which I'm hungover and Vegemite will come in handy, but otherwise, I do struggle.
I don't know when the first time you had Vegemite, but did anyone explain to you the ratio when the first time you did it, or did you make that error and go way too hard?
No, I'll tell you exactly when it was. I was flying Qantas to Sydney. I was in college. I was heading out there to study at NIDA, and I told an attendant that I was feeling a little nauseous, and the attendant gave me a thing of Vegemite and told me to put all of it on a cracker and eat it in one go. And I did it, and then the attendant laughed at me as I nearly threw up all over my seat. So that was my first experience.
Great. Well,
I was traumatized.
Only
by
up
Vegemite.
from there. Only up from there.
Correct.
When you've got the new book, and we're going to delve into that in just a sec. When did you study at NIDA? What year were you here?
2002.
2002. Oh, she's changed a lot in that time. I was in high school. High school. We must be a similar age. Yeah, I was in high school in 2002. The Olympics had just happened. There was a vibe. Australia was still as far away from anywhere else. It's still as far away from anywhere else in the world as it possibly could be.
Oh, it was awesome. I remember going to this incredible nightclub called Home all the time. So I'm not sure if it still exists.
Yeah, no, it's still there. And they're still...
Is that still there?
Yeah, Home nightclub is still there, and people are still dancing until like 6 o'clock in the morning, and on the expressway as you come around, you can go, wow, they're still going. They're still having a big night.
No, I had an amazing time studying there, and then I've subsequently shot three different things in 3 different times in Sydney. So I love it. I think of it as a second home.
Oh, lovely. Didn't you also too? I think when you lived in Bondi for a while, didn't you live in a haunted house or something? I heard.
I did. I lived in a very haunted apartment. And I had to get somebody to clear it for me, because I was every night at 3 a.m. I would hear something sinister, and I was I'm deeply uncomfortable with what's happening here. So a woman cleansed the apartment for me.
Did that sinister thing leave after the cleansing? I've been told
it may not have even been sinister. It may have just been a late owl, a night owl who was just a hungry ghost.
I've been told if you feel like it's a haunted place, envisage yourself in a bright ball of white light, and then that can help it go away. But anyway,
That was my learning.
I imagined myself paying somebody to clear it, and then I paid them.
That also works. Hey, you know what? The book is called In God We Trust. It's somewhat memoir, somewhat life story. I guess it's a memoir, but it's full of life stories and learnings and things that have happened. And also, I think for a lot of people, tells parts of your story that maybe they don't know. Because what I think is most fascinating about you, sir, is that you, as an actor / performer, are somewhat of a chameleon, because there will be people who know you from like Frozen, who will never have seen your inappropriate humor and jokes and singing in the Book of Mormon, and vice versa. There'll be people who are fans of the Book of Mormon who'll be like, what do you mean he was Olaf in Frozen? You've had such a wide variety of jobs in your career.
I've been very blessed to have a career that spans so many different genres and types of films. Whether it's something like Frozen, or whether it's something like Beauty and the Beast, or Murder on the Orient Express, or Marshall, or Pixels, or Book of Mormon. Part of the joy of what I get to do is that everything I do, I want to be a different challenge. I want it to have a different, set of memories and experiences in the process of making it. So for me, writing this book became that thing. It's something I hadn't really done before. I'd written a children's book called Picture Face Lizzie, but I hadn't done anything like this. And I always find that when I'm challenging myself to do something new, that is where I tend to shine. And that's, when I'm at my most authentic.
People will look at you and obviously go, oh, famous Hollywood celebrity, been in heaps of productions. What I think is always interesting is when you peel back the layer of like the celebrity or the facade of people thinking someone is or seeing someone's success. Is there a moment in your career where you're like, it's gonna be okay, like I made it, like that whole struggling actor, like moving from job to job, and you're always
I was, my first big break was a Broadway show called the 25th Annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. And after that, I was a working actor. I did a number of movies like 21, The Rocker, Love and Other Drugs, some TV shows, a show called Back to You. But I was, a working actor who had to put himself out there in order to figure out what was next all the time. It wasn't until Book of Mormon and the seismic sort of volcanic eruption that show was, that I really came into my own as an artist, meaning I had agency over the choices I got to make. I had opportunities that I could otherwise have only ever imagined. And it's rare that happens on stage. Most of the time, that gift comes with a hit movie or a hit TV show. But that was the first time that I think I recognized, this is my career's in a different stratosphere now. Yeah. That is quite humbling and satisfying.
You reveal in the book that some people warned you against it. Book of Mormon, I wouldn't do that if I was you. Book of Mormon, I wouldn't do that.
I warned myself against it. I was terrified because it was so shocking and crazy and loony. And I just suspected wrongly that mainstream audiences wouldn't accept it. Cut to, we're almost at 15 years and it's still running on Broadway.
Oh, it's about to come back. It's about to be back here in Australia. It's about to do another season here in Australia as well.
It has had quite a number of successful runs in Australia and all over the globe. I mean, the show just surpassed Rent as the 11th longest running show in the history of Broadway. I never in my wildest dreams could I have imagined that a comedy by the South Park writers called The Book of Mormon would become a tourist staple.
Absolutely.
But it is, it's really, really cool. It's an amazing gift to be a part of it.
But let's name names. Wasn't it Jake Gyllenhaal? In the book you reveal he's the one who, Jake Gyllenhaal said, I wouldn't do that. Wouldn't it?
I said to Jake, it was a leading question. I
Okay.
said to Jake, I don't think I should do this. What do you think? And he goes, no. He listened to the music. I was like, no, there's no way you can do this. And laughing. And I was like, yeah, it's insane. And then still, I decided against my own warnings and Jake's warnings and did it. But to this day, I have no regret. And in fact, Jake was one of the biggest fans of the show, so we were both wrong.
Oh, I think it's one of those shows where, like, at least for my experience, is like if you were to tell somebody the jokes about it, it's one of those shows where the PC police can't help but laugh. Like, it's one of those shows where it's like if you told someone on paper these were the jokes, they'd be like, oh, no, I'm not gonna. Then you go and watch it, and if you don't find yourself laughing, then you truly don't have a sense of humor. That's my hot take. That's my hot take, at least.
I agree with that.
What I wanted to know was there was a part in the book here where, and again, I think I don't know. I guess what I love to learn about, people who are, I'm going to use the word famous because everyone knows who they are. But what I love about learning books like this, where you learn about someone who's famous, is you learn about maybe the things that didn't happen and the jobs they didn't get. And there was a part in here where, and no one would ever have known this, but you auditioned for Avatar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, what was that like? And B, James Cameron was like, no, you're not right for me. What was the quote? What was the quote? You look too much like a Smurf.
No, it was actually, it was a crazy experience. I was coming off Broadway and I had put myself on tape for this new James Cameron movie called Avatar. And he responded by sending me a first-class ticket to Los Angeles from New York to come and do a work session with him. And I just remember he had this giant camera on his shoulder, and he was shooting the audition himself and playing the role opposite me. And he looked at me after and he goes, when you are in this movie, you're going to be so great because you're so imaginative. And you're just going to, you're going to be working with a lot of green screens and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, I've got this part. This is incredible. And then I leave and my agents are like, oh, the part is yours. He loves you. It's between you and this other guy, but you can get it. And then a couple of weeks passed and I heard nothing. A couple of weeks passed and nothing else. And then they gave it to the other guy, and I joked on the late night show once that I think what happened was he put me into like an avatar generator and I came out just looking like a fat Smurf. And the casting director called up my agent and said that's exactly what happened. So it's sad that I wasn't a part of Avatar, but I love those movies.
Yeah,
and I watch them all the time with my kids.
For people who maybe like young actors or anyone who's starting out in their career, do you think, from your experience at least, do you think sometimes there's a that the universe has a plan? Jobs that you weren't supposed to get allow you to take a path that you were I can imagine if you had gotten Avatar, Frozen probably wouldn't have become an option.
Book of Mormon wouldn't have been an option. I fully believe in that. I think that it is often the case that we think when we lose out on jobs that is the be all end all, but I've never lost out on a job where I've been like, man, that job would have been the one that really defined me in a better way than I've been defined, or would have given, there are obviously movies that I wish I could have been a part of and shows I wish I could have been a part of, but I do think it all works out for the best.
Yeah. What were they? Is there anything that you wished you'd gotten?
One of the movies I came very close to getting that I absolutely thought was the funniest script I'd ever read was Tropic Thunder.
Oh, wow.
But at the same time,
can I just say, Tropic, sorry, I got a sidebar. They'd never make that today. They would never make that movie today. No way that movie could ever be made in 2025.
And by the way, I think that the version of the movie that should have been made was a version of the movie that got made with the right people. So I don't have regrets. But throughout my career, and even though I can't think of it off the cuff, there have been plenty of jobs that I've been very close to, closer than you would imagine, that I for either my own reasons of declining,
Okay.
or not getting cast, that were, would have sent me on a different trajectory. And by the way, there are plenty of movies that I did that I shouldn't have done.
Yeah.
That sent me on a different trajectory. So it's not a science. It's an art.
Yeah.
And with art comes big swings, and sometimes you hit it out of the park, and sometimes you don't.
Absolutely. Speaking of big swings, obviously, Frozen is just, I would imagine, has been one of single-handedly the greatest gifts in terms of I would imagine just lifestyle alone. I mean, I don't know, you can speak to that, but I could just imagine like that just makes you be able to wake up every day and you choose the life that you wanna lead. But you did.
Well, Frozen is so special and significant because it is what you hope for, and I talk about this in Gad We Trust. What you hope for as an artist is not a career, but a legacy. And part of the legacy that you leave behind are the things for which you are remembered. And when you can be a part of something that will more likely than not stand the test of time, that will be a generational movie that people come back to again and again and again, you are in very, very hallowed territory. And for me, Frozen is one of those movies, like, many other animated classics or family classics, that has a better shot of being relevant, hopefully 60 years from now.
Oh yeah.
And that to me is an incredible gift. It means.
No, I was going to say, here's what my bar is for will it have a legacy. Has the Disney theme park made a ride out of the world? And if yes, the answer, then yes, I think there's a legacy there. I think it's going to stand the test of time. But then I think what is also funny is that one day, 60 years from now, there'll be kids who'll be like, oh, this old thing, Frozen, like, where's the new one?
I think that that's right. And I also am well aware that, like, there will one day be a Frozen live action movie, and a Frozen, this movie will birth more things. And that's good. That's actually healthy. It's, Shakespeare is still being done hundreds of years later.
So true.
In different ways.
Now, while we're just quickly touching on Frozen, what can you tell me about Frozen 3 without killing me?
I can tell you that it's coming out in 2027, and anything else, I have been sworn to secrecy, even if I knew, which I'm not saying I do.
No.
But I can tell you that I think it's safe to say the wait is going to be worth it.
Yeah, okay, great. Last question for you, because obviously it's such a sunny day in LA there. I wouldn't want to steal you up any longer than you are. What is one thing you want people to, if they're going to pick up the book, read the book, what do you want them to walk away? What is your intent? What was your intention? What do you want them to walk away with?
Well, I hope that they laugh. I hope that they're entertained. But if they can take away something more personal from it about, some of the more vulnerable aspects of the book, struggles with anxiety, struggle with body image, struggle with, the idea of having imposter syndrome. Those are the real things that it's been very touching to hear from fans and readers about, because it does connect on a broader level. Yeah. And people are finding the thing that I keep hearing the most is, I expected to laugh. I didn't expect to cry as much as I did. And I love that. That means I did my job, because man knows I shed some tears writing it.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you one last question, actually, just as someone who does, do something similar. Does imposter syndrome ever go away? Do you ever, or is it always
no?
Lingers in the back of your mind?
I've come to see it as a friend. It makes you, I think, fight to be better. I think it's healthy. I actually wish more people had imposter syndrome. I think it's been replaced with too many egos. And to me, I really prefer having a sense that I'm not good enough, rather than I'm too good.
Yeah. No, I like that. That's actually quite powerful. Congratulations on the book. I think it's a hoot.
Thank you.
I'm going to say this, and this is probably going to sound like you're going to be like, what a weird takeaway. I didn't realize you had 2 girls. I think it's like that's what that I think was that was the part for me. I was like, here you go. I didn't realize, because I think, not that you don't lean into the celebrity, but you clearly have a defined private and a public profile. And it was it's interesting how some people can make in the public eye, their children can become part of their identity, and I was a learning that through all of that success and all of those early days that you actually had a child, and I can imagine that would, everything you're doing in life, you sort of have to have another. You're also worrying not only about yourself, but also a new little human that you've brought into the world. And credit to you for sticking with it and nailing it like you have.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And to that point, my girls are everything. They are the reason I do what I do. They're the reason I feel so blessed to share what I get to share. Every day I see them, I'm inspired to want to create new things for them.
Bless. And I bet you they're not big fans of Frozen. They're like, oh, Dad, come on. Like, seriously, can we just...
Oh, they're I think that they secretly love Frozen, but it's certainly like not what they're watching these days at 11 and 14.
And they're certainly not saying, Dad, we really enjoyed that, because you're Dad and you're uncool and it doesn't matter what you do. You're Dad.
Yes.
Mate, great to see you. Congrats on the book. It's out now. In God We Trust. Josh, thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, brother.
You're listening to the Smallzy Surgery Podcast.
Hear more from Smallzy live weeknights from 8.
Only on Nova.
2 words, Revo Fitness. Here's a few more. Simple, 24/7, Reformer Pilates, body scanners, massage chairs, squat racks, free weights, pin and plate loaded equipment, no lock-in contracts, no bullshit. All of that and more from just $9.69 a week. That's surprisingly affordable. Join now at Revo Fitness Windsor Gardens or download the Revo Fitness app, revofitness.com.au, or find the Revo Fitness app in the App Store.